Okay, so you wanted to know more about what happened next to Tom after he got to Zara.
Right after that whole thing with the wizard and his memories coming back?
Yeah, exactly. It was
Uh,
pretty intense stuff. So we're diving back in right where we left off this time.
Picking up Tom's story, basically. Focusing on this big event he gets caught up in,
And we're getting all this from Violencia Cantita, Contain Violence in English.
which is chapter 12 of Texto Colado. So, yeah, buckle up.
Because we're going to see Tom really wrestle with everything the wizard told him.
And how it all connects to his memories of his mom and his parents and even Marifa.
Right. And he's also got this meeting with Timulo and another Zarian academic.
And then there's this whole thing with the shantanyn. Like, they have this plan.
And let's just say it doesn't exactly go smoothly.
Yeah.
It gets pretty wild and kind of disturbing.
Yeah. Contained violence is a pretty apt title when you think about it.
So yeah, get ready for a deep dive into the realities of Zara. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
It's definitely a world with a lot of wonder, but also a lot of danger.
Right. So the chapter starts with Tom still trying to wrap his head around everything.
Yeah, he's processing what the wizard said and those recovered memories,
Yeah.
and he's thinking about his mom.
Especially her love and how kind his parents were. And this is where it gets tricky with Marifa.
Because she wants those emotions and memories, but is it right to give them to her?
That's the dilemma Tom's facing. He's not just going along with it. He's really struggling with it.
It's a tough question, right? Trying to figure out what's right when you're dealing with something so different.
Completely. And then there's the whole issue of the wizard and what he supposedly did.
25 billion lives potentially lost. That's just mind-boggling.
It is, Tom can't even grasp the difference between 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000 at that point.
It's just this huge weight on him, and he's desperately looking for a distraction.
Which is where Zaza comes in. She sees he's troubled and offers him comfort.
Yeah, they have this really tender moment, or real connection. It's a nice break from all the heaviness.
But then reality sets back. The Zaza tells Tom that Timulo is coming to see him.
And Tom's actually excited about it. He wants to tell Temulo about capturing the shantanyn.
He hasn't told anyone in Zara yet. And there's this thing with Zaza when she tells him he has to be there.
It's like an order. Not a harsh one, but he feels it through the bracelet.
It's a reminder that he's not completely free in Zara. Even with Zaza, he has obligations.
There are definitely forces at play that he's not fully aware of.
So someone comes to take Tom to the meeting. They go through the main hall, past the statue of Kar.
Which is still pretty impressive to Tom, but then he sees this hidden staircase.
And it leads down to this whole other level below the grand hall.
It's just as big, carved right into the stone with these huge columns showing Zarian stories.
But the main statue down there isn't Kar. It's another Zarian deity named Zestros.
And this statue, it's really interesting. It's Zestros holding up the earth with 4 arms.
But it's all cracked. The text says trincado. Tom even compares it to damaged Greek sculptures.
That's pretty symbolic, right? You have this flawed statue of a powerful deity hidden away.
Especially compared to that perfect Kar statue above. It makes you wonder what it all means.
Like maybe Zestros represents something that's been lost or forgotten in Zarian culture.
But Tom doesn't have much time to think about it. He's led to a room where Timulo is waiting.
And there's another Zarian with him, Manzur. He's a professor from the Bushkar Manzurkar Academy.
Timulo's happy to see Tom, but Manzur's a bit more reserved. He says Timulo told him some interesting things.
Which makes Tom nervous, but Timulo says he just told him about the shantanyn.
Manzur admits he was skeptical, but he trusts Timulo's judgment. And then Tom drops the bomb.
He tells them he actually captured the shantanyn using the spell Temulo gave him.
Timulo's completely shocked. He definitely didn't think Tom could pull it off.
And Manzur, he's not happy that Temulo shared the Zonal submission ritual.
He says that knowledge shouldn't even exist, let alone be shared. He gets really upset.
He crosses all 4 of his arms and turns his back on them. Temulo tries to apologize,
Saying he didn't think Tom could actually do it. But Tom's irritated, and rightfully so.
Yeah, Temulo basically gave him a death sentence, assuming he'd fail.
Exactly. But Manzur's academic curiosity wins out. He wants to know more about this captured shantanyn.
He asks Tom if it's really true, and Tom confirms it. He's even a little proud.
He mentions Temulo wanted to study the creature, and suddenly Temulo's excited again.
He calls it a divine opportunity to study a creature of myth.
But now they need a place to keep it. They ask Tom how big it is.
Which is tough for Tom to answer. He doesn't have a good frame of reference in this world.
But he says it's about the length of 3 tables in the room and 2 tables call.
Manzur seems pretty nonchalant about it. He suggests using one of the halls they have.
Halls that were made for taming transport serpents, specifically Hall 2.
He seems really confident. Like, it's no big deal. He asked for 15 guards.
And maybe 5 more, just in case. Then he finally turns to Tom and asks about the dangers.
Like, how dangerous is this shantanyn, really?
And Tom doesn't sugarcoat it. He describes that powerful tail, how fast it moves its attacks.
He even says it seemed intelligent. Not in a sophisticated way, but it knew who was the biggest threat.
Manzur finds all this fascinating, but Tom's warning that he only survived because of luck.
It doesn't really faze them. They're more excited than worried.
Manzur says 15 guards can handle a creature 3 times that size.
They have this containment system. Apparently it's super effective.
So they decide to move the shantanyn to Hall 2. But then they start talking about Zanal and the Zaririan deities.
Temulo explains that the Zanal enchantment basically makes the target submit to Zanel's will.
It often involves nightmares for those seeking her favor, but there can be rewards too.
He also mentions this conflict between Zanel and Darif over some western lands.
But he leaves out some details. It seems like there's more to that story.
And then they go to the cafeteria so Tom can eat. He notices nobody pays for their food.
Temulo starts listing other Zurian deities. Zestros Notir, Mimir Fasas, Bernanera, and Serdix.
The name Mimir catches Tom's attention. So Temulo explains that her temples are in remote places.
And she's particularly popular with artists and artisans. Then he goes to help Manzur with the preparations.
But he says Trinidad will come get Tom later. He also mentions that the Zarian deities are at peace now.
Since Darif died. So yeah, no more god wars for now.
Sounds peaceful, right?
But
Except for the whole shantanyn situation.
yeah, about that. So Tom's at the table enjoying his meal, and he notices some students looking at him.
One even comes up to him. But before they can talk, Trinidad shows up.
She playfully shoos the student away, saying Tom's busy. She's a scribe for research professors like Temulo.
She even mentions hearing things from Zaza, which makes her smile.
Tom comments that Trinidad seems more adventurous than he expected.
And she jokes about being good at her job. Then she tells them they have to go.
Because there are going to be class announcements soon and it'll get crowded.
As they walk towards the arena, Trinidad mentions she's curious about what's happening.
She hasn't been told what it is. And Tom, remembering how dangerous things could get.
He just tells her to watch from a safe distance, hinting that it could be dangerous.
Without actually mentioning the shantanyn. But that makes Trinidad worry.
She promises to be careful, though. And they keep walking past classrooms and labs.
Which shows Zara really does have a whole education system focused on magic.
It's not all just fighting monsters and stuff.
They reach the sub-level hall and go down further past that cracked statue of Zestros.
They come to this wide corridor that seems to be used for moving big things.
Tom even sees tracks on the floor, like a train line. And at the end of the corridor,
There are 2 structures. On the left are arenas of different sizes.
the first 2 are the biggest, but only the second one has viewing platforms.
And people are already gathering up there in the stands above hall, too.
On the right is what looks like a train station for loading and unloading cargo.
It's all very organized and efficient, even when they're about to unleash a monster.
They go into the arena towards the first circle. Temulo Manzur and some other professors are already there.
Along with some guards, the arena has 2 main circles.
The inner circle is bigger for containing and training creatures.
And the outer circle is narrower and separated by metal bars for safer movement.
Temulo hurries over to Tom with a piece of paper, the incantation to release the shantanyn.
And Trinidad's shocked. She thought those creatures were just legends.
Tom looks at the incantation. He doesn't understand all of it, but he thinks he gets the gist.
It's similar to the spell he used to capture the shantanyn, but there's also a drawing of a magic circle.
Like the one Trat used on the train, Temulo explains that it's a Zanal invocation circle.
And Tom has to memorize it and visualize it while chanting the spell.
Tom asks if there's anything else he needs to know about the incantation.
And Temulo says releasing it is simple compared to capturing it.
He tells Tom to chant it very quietly so nobody else can hear,
But he says just seeing the incantation won't reveal its true nature.
because it looks like less dangerous spells. Then Temulo says something that's kind of worrying,
He points to the 15 guards with their enchanted weapons and armor.
and he says they'll keep the shantanyn busy while the tamers use spells to subdue its mind.
Like, they have it all under control. But given Tom's experience, that's not very reassuring.
He tells Trinidad to come with him and tells Tom to run as soon as he says the incantation.
He says a guard will be at the containment door to let him out. Tom agrees.
So Tom goes into this small inner room to study the incantation. The circle's pattern isn't too complicated.
And he feels like he's memorized the text. He can hear the crowd getting louder outside.
After a few minutes, Trinidad signals that they're ready at times. Tom steps out into the arena.
And there's a massive crowd in the stands. Every seat is filled.
The professors are in an observation area inside the inner circle.
And in the main arena are 20 figures, 15 guards with enchanted weapons and armor.
And 5 tamers. Tom walks through the containment door where a guard is waiting.
To make sure he can get out quickly. As Tom enters the arena, the crowd goes wild.
They're cheering like it's some kind of sporting event. It seems pretty normal for them.
Tom goes to the center of the arena, takes a deep breath, visualizes the Zanal circle.
And starts chanting the incantation softly.
Rogo zané liberte, o fraco de espíritu, incapaz de amar la indigno da gracia dada.
As he finishes, the circle appears on the floor. But something feels wrong. The shantanyn didn't seem this big before Temulo's waving his arms frantically telling Tom to get out.
So Tom runs. He goes through the first containment door and sees the guard's shocked face.
He closes the door and looks back into the arena. And what he sees is just unbelievable.
From inside the circle, 2 pairs of giant arms come out, just like when he captured the shantanyn.
But this time, one of the arms crushes a guard, knocking him unconscious. The crowd goes silent.
Some of the other guards try to help their friend, but the spikes on his armor make it impossible.
Then the giant mouth reappears inside the circle and vomits the shantanyn back into the arena.
It lands with a thud. It's huge, but maybe closer to the size Tom remembers.
The enchantment disappears, and the guards finally free their unconscious comrade.
He seems okay, just stunned. The remaining 12 guards form a circle around the shantanyn,
Which, starting to wake up, gets to its feet and looks around.
It still has the burns Tom gave it, which makes it look even more terrifying.
One guard steps forward, shielding the mages behind him. But the shantanyn's tail whips out.
With incredible speed, it hits the guard, sending him flying through the air.
He crashes into the wall, leaving a bloody mark. Then his body falls lifeless at a mage's feet.
It's brutal and totally unexpected. The guards were completely unprepared for that.
Some of them are distracted and don't react in time as the shantanyn lunges at 3 others.
2 are knocked down by its paws. Their spiked armor doesn't even help.
And the 3rd guard. The shantanyn bites his head off, right there in front of everyone.
It's horrifying. Tom can hardly believe he survived 2 encounters with this thing.
The 5 mages in the back are slow to react. They're stunned by what's happening.
They start casting spells, but they have no effect. It's like their magic isn't working.
It seems the shantanyn's absorbing the magic energy, making it hard to cast spells.
Which is weird because on Earth, magic energy seemed plentiful.
The biggest guard conjures these golden spears. They're bright, sharp, and glowing with magic.
He throws them at the shantanyn with incredible strength, but the creature dodges them easily.
He keeps attacking, though, switching between his 4 arms with amazing accuracy.
When a spear misses, it shatters and reforms in his hand, ready to be thrown again.
While he distracts the shantanyn, 2 other guards try to flank it.
One lunges with a sword, but hands shoot out from the shantanyn's tail and grab him.
One hand pulls him back by the waist, while others dig their claws into his arms.
And they tear off all 4 of his limbs. It's a bloodbath.
The 2nd guard takes his chance and strikes the shantanyn's tail with his sword.
But the tail just vanishes like smoke. Then it grows back a moment later.
This thing is unstoppable. Tom pushes through the 2nd containment door and runs towards Timula.
Who's frozen in fear. A severed leg flies through the bars, almost hitting Tom.
People in the stands are screaming and running, even though they're pretty far from the fight.
The remaining mages realize they can't subdue this thing.
They start throwing they've got energy blasts, lightning strikes, magic arrows.
But nothing works. Then one guard does something really desperate.
He casts a spell that sets his sword on fire with silver flames. He swings it wildly at the shantanyn.
Sending waves of fire at the creature, it roars in pain, but the fire also catches 2 other guards.
And they're burned alive in seconds. It's chaos.
The mages are losing control, and their attacks are backfiring.
Tom reaches the professors, but they're either terrified or unconscious.
Traumatized by what they're seeing, he shakes Temulo, trying to wake him up.
Temulo, wake up. He yells, "We need to do something or we're all gonna die."
He knows Car's spirit might protect him, but he's not sure if Car will intervene.
Yes, we have. Temulo stammers. There's a mechanism, an emergency mechanism.
Tom can barely hear him over the screams from the arena. Okay, where? How? He asks.
Next to the lever that leads to the back, Temulo says, pointing.
There's nobody else around except the terrified professors.
Tom runs, realizing how fast the golem body is. He gets to the lever instantly.
There's a big lever and a smaller one next to it. Each one has text describing what it does.
He can't read clearly in his panic, so he has to guess. He figures the smaller lever.
The one that's harder to reach with more writing might be the right one. He pulls it.
There's a huge roar and thick black chains shoot out from the arena fence.
They wrap around the shantanyn, completely trapping it. It can't move.
It's even more effective than when Tom tried to trap it with branches.
The 3 remaining guards attack the creature, which is thrashing wildly.
Even in chains, it's still dangerous. They carefully strike it with their weapons.
But it's weird. The enchanted weapons don't seem to do much damage.
While the regular weapons are more effective, after a long fight, the shantanyn finally dies.
But 17 out of the 20 Zarians who fought it are dead.
It's a massacre. The audience is gone. The professors are still in shock.
The surviving guards collapse. They were not ready for that.
Trinidad runs into the arena with 2 people in red and gold clothes. Tom's never seen them before.
They join 5 others who are already there. They form a circle of 8 and start chanting.
Tom can't hear them clearly, but he knows they're trying to heal the...
A red light appears above them, and from the light, these pieces of flesh start dripping.
They're wriggling on the ground, and they start moving towards the dead and wounded.
When they reach a wound, they go into the body and merge with it. It's pretty gross.
Tom starts to go closer. He wants to see this magic up close.
But Trinidad stops him. Wait for them to finish, Tom, she says.
It's an enchantment that needs concentration. She's trying to be brave, but she's pale and shaky.
Her clothes are dirty. It looks like she might have thrown up back there.
Tom takes her to a bench.
He asks if she wants a drink, but she says she'll just be sick again.
He asks if the enchantment can bring people back to life.
She says it's possible, but it has to be done quickly.
And she doesn't think they have a chance.
After a few minutes, 2 Zarians wake up screaming in pain.
The healers go to them and use more magic to help them. Out of the 20 who went in,
Only 5 survived. More healers arrive. The immediate danger is over.
but the arena is a disaster. Tom starts to feel the stress hit him.
He's exhausted even though he didn't do much fighting. His hands and legs are shook. It's shock. He's never felt this bad, not even when he was fighting the shantanyn.
Trinidad falls asleep next to him. The unconscious professors have been moved to beds.
The others, including Temilo and Manzur, are being treated by the healers.
Some people in the stands got hurt too, but it doesn't look like anyone else died.
Thankfully, Tom is overwhelmed. He can't even process what happened.
He just wants to get out of there. He avoids everyone and quietly goes back to his room.
As he's walking, he hears someone calling his name. His vision blurs and the voice gets louder.
And then he realizes he's waking up in his hospital bed back on Earth.
He left Zara earlier than usual.
Good morning. A nurse says, sorry to wake you so early, but you need to take this medication now.
Tom takes the pills and falls back asleep. He's exhausted.
Even back in his own world, he can't shake the feeling of what he saw. He wants to go home.
To find something to take his mind off of it, but then he remembers Zaza.
He doesn't want to forget their time together, even with all the horror he experienced.
He admits that being with her gave him feelings he never had before.
And that makes him even more frustrated to be stuck in the hospital. He turns on the TV.
Hoping to find something to distract him from the boredom and the bad memories.
So we just went through a pretty intense chapter in Tom's story in Zara.
And it all started because you wanted to know what happened next.
We saw how dangerous Zara can be, even in a seemingly controlled environment.
The Zurians thought they had everything under control, but they were wrong.
And Tom is marked by this experience. It follows him back to his own world.
It makes you wonder what it all means for him going forward.
Right, like how will this affect his choices in both worlds?
And what about that Zurian healing magic? As disturbing as it was,
It does make you think about what else is possible in Zara.
maybe there are other wonders out there, but maybe more dangers too.
Exactly. And that's something for you to think about. What does this contrast between pleasure and danger tell us?
How will this violent experience change Tom? What will he do next?
We want to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you? What connections did you make?
The deep dive continues long after we stop talking.
So keep exploring, keep thinking, and let us know what you discover.